Shalom, Kahala, Yahweh Shemi Awashai, Bahashim Kakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of the GMS, even the elders that came before them that taught us this truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers that are pushing the word of truth and its sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David, 144,001 the hopeful elect of Israel. I'm the brother Yeshua. Back with another quick lesson. I think Larry breaks something down very important and underlying that we should know about as to why what is going on is going on. And what he actually said was Iran is the linchpin to BRICS. And what we see happening right now is the petrodollar failing, and here comes BRICS as the new, kid in town as far as what was the petrodollar. So it's not so much about Iran as it is about BRICS and then having control of the whole oil infrastructure and the money and the power that comes along with that. That's what's in jeopardy here. And what Trump is doing, he's going after Iran because if he can topple Iran, that destroys BRICS as a whole. That's what Larry is going to explain here overall. Okay. And it all makes sense, right? Because who's in BRICS? Mainly Vladimir Putin with Russia, who is, winning the war right now. Okay? And slated to win. And Vlad is the new pariah, as was your boy Adolfian Schicklgruber, right? They painted Vlad out to be the new bad guy, right? So, why is he the new bad guy? Because he wasn't going along. He was the main one not going along with just basically the hierarchy of the NWO. He was like this. No, well, what about my seat at the table? They're like this. Would you go sit your ass down? And he's like this. I ain't sitting shit. I got more weapons than all of y'all. And so what we're watching Donald Trump try to get at Vlad Putin from the backside, which is Iran. Okay, so let me get this real quick. Satan's devices real quick because that kind of sets up everything. And I know I'm being long-winded, but I'm gonna try to make it quick. What is that? Second, 2 core 2, right? 2 core 2 and 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So Larry is going to explain what he sees going on from a military. See, he's a CIA, which is he's a spook. He knows spook shit, so he knows what Trump is up to. From the perspective of a military analyst or military intelligence. The top of military intelligence is the CIA at Langley. All right. Anyway.
And he was mentioning that. And the way that he's spending.
This is Dialogue Works. Your boy Larry C. Johnson. Iran stands firm. Yemen's missiles rock the. See, people don't understand what's really going on over there. World War III is being fought, and guess who's losing? The U.S. Navy's losing. They're getting clowned over there. Those carriers are old, and he's going to go into it. How that old shit don't work no more, and we're in the age of drones and low-fi, not high-fi. Okay?
In Yemen, against Yemen, how you can put these two pictures together? He's
talking about Trump. What's Trump doing? Why is he bombing Yemen? How, what's the big picture he's asking?
The way that he's spending in Yemen against Yemen, how you can put these two pictures together? Is he really concerned about that? How long do they want to stay there and fight in Yemenis?
Well, look at it from the standpoint of the companies that make the weapons systems on those ships, particularly the vertical launch system missiles. Every time those destroyers fire at an inbound Houthi missile, that means the U.S. government's got to go buy more. And those corporations, boy, they're probably sending secret messages to the Houthis to keep firing or to fire more. The more they use up, the more the U.S. is going to have to buy, and the better those companies will be off in terms of financial income. So it is sort of dark and twisted, but yeah, I guess they got their 17th drone the other day.
Yemen shot down their 17th. He's going to go into how much each one of those drones cost and how much what an imbalance of money being spent, right? How much are the Houthis spending on the necessary munitions to destroy the billions of dollars that the West is spending?
So the MQ-9 Reaper, and that the minimum cost on that is like $30 million. So we're talking 510 million, $500 million have been shot down in the last 15 months. That's a lot of money. And so I think the $1 billion a month estimate, that's probably spot on, and that's costly. And candidly, I don't think the U.S. can afford it. But they don't sit down and count the cost. They just do it and then figure out we'll write checks later.
But do you think that they're gonna say that we're gonna talk with Yemeni? Let's talk with them. Do you see that coming, or they're
That's peace and safety,
and just continue the same way?
Well, I talk to the Yemenis. They're crazed Muslims. Don't you understand? I mean, really, we don't even.
dragons of Arabia. They're crazy Muslims. Why talk to the Yemeni? They're the wild. Ishmael is a wild man. This is what they're saying.
Them as real people. Okay, it is. It's really another form of racism that we view them. Is the derogatory term. Let's call them sand monkeys.
Oh, they might be Jakes.
Yeah, they're primitive. They're poor.
Bywords.
Yet,
Niggards.
really primitive and poor.
Monkeys.
They have fought the U.S. government to a standstill
Woo!
for the last 16 months.
Let me repeat that. I was talking. I was being a porch monkey. Hold on. Listen to this real close. Who's winning the war?
Monkeys. Yeah, they're primitive. They're poor. Yet,
Yeah.
really primitive and poor. They have fought the U.S. government to a standstill for the last 16 months.
And that's the problem. Here's the elephant, okay? If you just sum up what he just said, okay? Whatever's going on in the world today, guess what? The Americans are getting their asses kicked on the battlefield. By who? Let the weak say I'm strong. The Houthis, who ain't got nothing, who are poor and got on sandals, nigga, and a grenade launcher, and they're kicking ass?
17 months. Pretty remarkable. Other countries around the world that have stood in fear of the United States got to be looking at that going, huh? I mean, particularly like the Chinese. If a carrier strike group is struggling like the U.S. is right now to stop the flow of missiles, imagine what would happen if you put a carrier strike group off the coast of China.
Understand what's going on here? Or if Imagine what would happen to the United States if they went heads up with Russia. Right now, they're getting their ass kicked by Yemen, the Houthis, who have nothing. They got some rockets, some Katusha, some Kartusha rockets, with no guidance, right? And some Zuzus and whatever, some Jujubes and kite string. You understand? And they're whooping the Americans. That's what Larry is saying, right?
China's got some things that the Yemenis don't have. Number one, they've got ISR, they've got satellites. So they'll be able to locate the U.S. ships much quicker. And they have a larger array of hypersonic missiles. And they've got aircraft that can launch bombs and stuff. I mean, so, you know, the U.S. ought to take a lesson from this, that when this one little country can fire 174 attacks on U.S. ships over the last 17 months, that's 10 a month. Pay attention.
Let's get a precept real quick. Let's get 2, and then we'll come back real quick, and then we'll finish up, Lord willing. Let the weak say I'm strong. 3 and 10. And what else? Yep, I know. Because this is not the World War III Daily Update, right? Joel. Bear with me, please. Joel 3 and 10. This is what we want right here. That's the Houthis, right? Or the whole Middle East, for that matter. Look at Hamas and Hezbollah. Right? They haven't lost any war. They're over there fighting away. You don't have a ceasefire, and then what happens after a ceasefire? Well, they go back. Well, that means both sides are still fighting. Joel 3 and 10. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. What's going on here? Rev 11, right? And 14. This is the next video I'm about to make. The second woe was passed. Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe was passed, and behold, the third woe. Here's what's going on. Okay, you can either acknowledge the fact that it's already here, or you can say it's coming real quick. What's being said right here? What's being said? Let's go back.
There are limits to our military power.
Woo! There it is. Oh, wow. Larry, you're going to get yanked. Larry, you can't say.
Is your cat bored with the same?
Larry, you can't say shit like that. They can get you on some Coach Red Pill. They can Coach Red Pill you. So like I'm going to back that up. Did you hear what Larry said? He's giving you the whole skin. And America knows
What do you mean?
America's a paper tiger and being shown to be right now.
Pay attention.
Pay attention.
There are limits to our military power.
Stop. Pay attention. Pay attention to what? Well, pay attention to who's controlling the Red Sea. Are you paying attention? Who can shut down the Strait of Hormuz? What's going to happen, right, to the flow of commerce when this war gets started in kind? Pay attention, okay? America isn't just going to drop a couple of bombs and then it's going to be business as usual for the next few months until a skirmish starts again. Those days are over. The jig is up, all right? The jig is up. What does it mean that the jig is up? They understand now that America is a paper tiger. This is what's being said.
By the way,
So,
that they're so simple-minded in terms of how to deal with Houthis, because the way they're talking about Iran, it seems that Iran is capable of putting a lot of pressure on Houthis and just forcing them to change their behavior. Do you think, Larry, do you think that Iran is interested or is capable of changing the mindset of Ansarullah in Yemen?
Um,
very important question.
we need to look at that. That's a relationship of friends. You know, friends, usually you're friends with people that share common interests.
Now, what Larry's going into, he's going into the knowledge that he has from being a spook. Okay, you have to qualify certain things like, okay, well, the Yemeni, those are Sunni, and they don't get. He's gonna go and you start getting into crazy shit like dialect and and I'm just using that as an example. Not know you gotta know the country. You gotta know. This is what this guy Pepe Escobar said. You motherfuckers don't even know shit about Yemen. How you know that they don't want to fight or that they can't? They can fight. They can. So, and he was saying that while he was. I was here when you bombed the shit out of us, and guess what? You didn't do nothing. Made these niggas mad. Pepe was saying, right?
And while the Yemenis practice a different version of Shia theology, I understand, I've been told that it's a Shia theology that's actually a little closer to Sunni, but they're friends. It's not a dependent relationship. Iran is not the drug dealer, and Yemen's the drug user.
Who are they talking about? And I'm gonna end it right here, but you can see what's going on. If I let it go longer, they get into the Iranian connection as to BRICS and how that ties in. But I am going to dip out right now because this is going to get long if I let it continue to. So we're just going to run to 2nd Ezra's 15, and we're going to grab real quick. What is he talking about? What relationship is he talking about right now? He's talking about the Iranian and Yemeni connection. Let's get that in the scriptures right here. We'll start at 28. This is 2nd Ezra 15, 28. Behold, behold a horrible vision and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia, which represents Yemen, shall come out with many chariots. Just call them crazy. The dragons of Arabia, right? The wild man, Ishmael, shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also, the Persians or the Iranians, the Carmanians, raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars. See, they're crazy too. These wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them. With who? With them dragons. And this is what they're talking about right here. The Iranians. Do the Iranians have control over the Yemeni? Well, they have. This is really their. Larry, here's what Larry said. Well, you got to know a little something about the Yemeni, and they're kind of Shia, which is kind of Sunni, so they get along. But right now, their friendship, he's talking about their friendship, right? Well, let's look at their friendship in the scriptures. Okay, it says, also the Iranians, raging in wrath, shall go forth and do what? And join battle with them. With who? With the Yemeni, right? That's what they're doing, right? Now it goes into the Yemeni and how they're more they're Shia, but on a Sunni side, and then the Shiite, and right, it goes into their divisions and them burying their differences for a moment to come together to win this war. Okay, And that would be 2 Ezra 15 and 31. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, right? Talking about the Arabs, the Shiites, the Sunni, right? Remembering their nature, right? We're a wild ass motherfucker. And if they shall turn themselves, like turn back, stop fighting amongst each other, and plan, conspire, breathe together. Con meaning with, spire meaning breathe, together in great power to persecute them. Who's them? The Assyrians and the big Satan and the little Satan, if you will. See that? Right here you have them doing what? Burying the hatchet, and because of that friendship that he's breaking down, well, they were able to destabilize the region by putting us against them. Or, hey, them Shiites over there, here's what they said. This is what the CIA, he knows all about it. They specialize in overthrowing governments and installing puppet. He understands perfectly what he sees Trump doing because he did it with other presidents back in the day. That's what he said.
Iran is not the pimp and Yemen the prostitute.
He understands.
It's a friend relationship. And so, in that regard, how would you react if one of your friends came to you and started ordering you about, telling you what to do?
We're friends. Also, the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with him, with the Yemeni. This is it right here, and then it tells you the outcome down here. But the point is that he's laying it out. This the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy.
You wouldn't stay friends much longer. You'd say, hey, I don't need this. I'm going to go my own way. But I don't see Iran doing that because
what he's saying is, no, Iran is not telling Yemen, right, how to engage or what to do or who to shoot, or if I did give you some weapons, it's like saying all the weapons and money that was given to Zelensky, America's telling him what to do, and there might, you might suggest what Is America telling Bibi Netanyahu how to conduct his campaigns in war? No. Although they're giving him all the money and all the weapons they need. No, doesn't work like that. So it doesn't work. The Iran-backed Houthi, no. That would be like saying, well, the U.S.-backed Netanyahus who are out here running amok on their very own. Right? I'm not quite sure that the president of the United States, Donald Trump, is under the same charges as Bibi Netanyahu with the IRGC. What is it called? The International Court, Court of ICO, whatever. Government affairs. I don't know what the fuck. Doesn't mean anything.
I think the Iranians are smart enough to recognize that what Trump is about here, I think, is
listen.
There's an economic. I think there's an economic element to it.
Now he's going to go into bricks and explain why the war, why we see the pushing and shoving going on, and it goes back to the petrodollar. After all, we are in the Middle East, which is where the petrodollar lives. It lives in OPEC, oil producing whatever countries.
And I had to, I was just thinking off the top of my head when you and I talked with Scott on Monday or Tuesday.
Scott Ritter.
And but I've had I had time to reflect on it more this week. I think what Trump is trying to do is destroy BRICS and make sure that he can put sort of a nail in their coffin. And Iran is the linchpin, the key target that they've got to take out. They take out Iran, then that's going to disrupt BRICS.
Very interesting theory, because a lot of people are saying that. I thought I saw a headline to a video that said the petrodollar is the real reason for attacking Iran. I saw a headline that said that. Let me type that in and see what comes up. Apparently I can't type shit in right here. Oh, here we go. The Metro. Is it one word? Must be onto something, because nothing about the petrodollar comes up at all. See that? What's up with the petrodollar? Nothing. Not a word, nigger. Not a word, nigger. It won't come up. Nuclear deal. Iran's dollar economic crisis. What is fight between Iran and America? Trump reason for Iran's dollar economic crisis. Okay. What's up with the petrodollar? See, because you have to take into account that the stock market is gone right now. Okay, so what's going on? Full nuclear. Gotta make a deal. We gotta make a deal. All right, so the water. And then this whole thing, right? This whole tariff charade, which is a cloak. Trump threatens war. That's 3 weeks ago. So, not getting nothing right here. Let me see if I can. Let me run that real quick. Do a Google search. (2018) 6 years. This is going nowhere. Petrodollar warfare 4 years ago. Petrodollar, March 10th. The petrodollar. U.S.-Saudi petrodollar arrangement has underpinned American economic and military power for nearly 5 decades. So we're getting nowhere with that. But that's what's going on according to Larry here. We'll let him talk a little more.
Because the current plans that are underway to construct that north-south transport corridor, Russia sees that as, once that is fully established and up and running, Russia no longer has to worry about Turkey shutting down the Dardanelles and going through from the Black Sea to the Mediterranean.
And this whole new Silk Road thing, what is this whole new Silk Road? All right, well, that's the China. See, everybody wants to redo things that have these are ancient routes. There's an ancient trade route that connects North America to South America. It's called Mexico. They call it our southern border. It's an ancient trade route, and they've been smuggling humans and all manner of shit going back into antiquity. And no, nigga, they're not going to shut it down. What was I looking for? The new Silk Road. What is that? What's the new Silk Road, and what does it have to do with geopolitics? China's new Silk Road. Okay, find out what this is. Okay. Going back to these old trade routes, right? This is if you do a little research on what they are calling the new Silk, has to do with trade. See, trade is being upended right now with the ending of the petrodollar. What's going to be the new standard? Okay. Is it going to be the ruble that all oil is traded in, like it's been with America? This is what made America rich. Okay, so now that's changing, now we got to have a war. Well, when did it change last time? World War II, that's when it changed. So that's the understanding. Where were we?
Right now, as Russia is part of its strategic military planning and having to anticipate future threats, they've got to be concerned about what happens if Turkey decides to block
that aid from coming in. Okay, so he just rattled off about 3 or 4 major trade routes that go back. This is what makes people or countries rich, like Jerusalem, right? Is the center point for everything. There's a crossroads of the world, and that's where a whole bunch of trade was coming right through what they call Israel today. So I'm gonna play this again, and he's saying, well, this trade route right here, and then this trade route right here, and then this trade route right here. He's explaining how these things and the control over these cash crops or ports of call, if you will, these are the people that are, these are the countries that are enriched because of where these trade routes are.
That north-south transport corridor. The key target that they've got to take out. They take out Iran, then that's going to disrupt BRICS because the current plans that are underway.
Now he's going to go into these trade routes. He's going to mention one in Turkey. He's going to mention one, I believe, up in, he can mention one in China. I don't think he's going to mention the Silk Road by name, but what could he be referring
to construct that north-south transport corridor. Russia sees that as, once that is fully established and up and running, Russia no longer has to worry about Turkey shutting down the Dardanelles and going through from the Black Sea to the Mediterranean. Right now, as Russia is part of its strategic military planning and having to anticipate future threats, they've got to be concerned about what happens if Turkey decides to blockade that port. That cuts off an important
trade
access point for Russia. And so they have to devote military resources to that and planning, etc. Once that becomes no longer relevant, because going in and out of the Black Sea won't be an economic priority for Russia, but it's going through Iran, it changes the strategic picture. So I think a lot of this U.S. effort is directed towards, they do want to destroy Iran. They want to change the leadership. They're not interested in negotiating a deal with the mullahs.
Which is what he specializes in. Did you hear what he just said? Change the leadership. Regime change. This is what the CIA does. So the things that he's speaking on, he once used to do and get paid for, so he understands the inside skin.
Or with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, they want to eliminate them so that they can put a government in place in Iran that is controlled by the West.
Regime change that the CIA specializes in. He knows exactly what he's saying.
That will be another way to try to encircle Russia.
If you go back to the Shah, if you understand the Shah being deposed and then the Ayatollah you a long time ago, nigga, I'm old. Okay? We remember shit like that.
I think that's what's going on. So the Yemen stuff is a bit of a sideshow. And they pretend it's for freedom of navigation, but no, it's to counter the Houthis' attempt to punish Israel and force Israel to stop its war of genocide.
We can end it right there. That's a whole lot. But an interesting take on why the war is happening right now. Okay, basically he said, because when they open up that old Persian trade route, and Russia don't have to go through the Black Sea and deal with Ukraine no more. You could go that other way. Not only will the petrodollar be gone, but things just changed up, and Esau or Babylon is struggling, right, to right the ship because they can't do it. Let's see. Rev 12. I was right there, wasn't I? Let's go like this. Rev 12 and 12. And we'll end. Salakia for just going long, but just something to think about. This is about trade. Look at the stock market. Let me get my phone. Stock market right now, it's 11:16 where I'm at in the east, and it says, Slovakia went to the wrong thing there. Here we go. It says 1770 in the red. So bank holiday, right? What is a bank holiday? All right. There's your warning, right? Warn them from me. Let's get a quick warning out there. Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Shoot. Vlad and them gained control of the petrodollar, or the catbird seat, if you would. It's going to be like that. I'm going to end it right here. We hope the elector edified. Continue to watch. What was I getting? The warning? Let's get the warning. $3.17. Get the warning. Ezekiel 3:17, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning. From here's your warning. Hey, man, damn thing is over. Okay? Iran standing firm. Why? They ain't backing down. This is it, y'all. Gonna be a bumpy landing, but fasten your seatbelts. With that, we hope the electorate finds brothers and sisters. Shalom.